you shared that you were an early evangelist to your friends. And so I think one of the questions that I had like related to like finding the answer to the, are you ready to go all in question? What were some of those principles or dynamics around blockchain that really resonated with you? That's like, this is it. I'm jumping in.
Yeah, great question. So for me, I guess the underlying thesis and ethos now for myself, and one of the key principles that I live by is around democratization of finance. And so like really making financial infrastructure and the economy more accessible on a global scale. And so that was one of the reasons for joining Revolut, right? Accessing a cross-border account with no effects, you're not limiting or restricting who can jump on board. And basically cryptocurrencies are doing that on a much larger scale. And they're really flipping all of the traditional financial models on its head to think, okay, if we could rebuild this from scratch, how do we do it more efficiently, more effectively, more transparently, and for lower cost? And so for me, that's like the driving factor behind my decision model now on my life and investments and my career. It's like, how do I make finance more accessible using technology effectively? And for me, that's like now a personal passion to ensure that no matter where you are in the world, you should be opened up to the same type of opportunities. And it still seems a little disturbing that like just because you were born in a certain country, you can't get a certain bank account, or you can't transact in a certain currency, or you have like capital controls on your own money and how much you can withdraw on a daily basis.
Or you have to pay like
I have
20%
friends,
of
yeah,
the remittance, like all of those things. Yeah.
exactly. And there's no option, right? They have to go to their convenience store. They're going to take this huge cut. A lot of people aren't aware of the spreads. And so they may, the convenience store or the Bureau of Exchange might say, hey, we charge 0 fees, but then our spread is like 300 bips or something, or like a ridiculously wide. And so there's all these kind of very obscure mechanics that are at play. And I think the consumer has not been put first during this process. And I think, yeah, cryptocurrencies helps change that. It's like putting the power and control back into the individual's hands. And a lot of innovation is getting built off the back of that.
I think this is something that a lot of people relate to and resonate with, is like the early pitch you got for your first job out of college was like, you'll be able to work on really hard technical problems. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people, like a lot of like traditional software companies, like that's the thing. It's like, you'll come here, you'll work on this really hard technical problem. It's gonna be a great experience for you to grow. So I guess it's like for like blockchain problems, would you consider them harder, or are they like a different type of difficulty? Like, is it a different class of difficulty within that scale?
Well, I think like any industry or any company, you have a wide spectrum of problems. So if you're referring to like working on the crypto native kind of first principle approach, understanding the protocol, understanding the life cycle of a transaction, understanding how to kind of really build on top of the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, working at that kind of low level does require subject matter expertise and does require a lot of education and iteration to really understand how to do that effectively. But then equally, we need engineers also that are building web services that can scale and are stateless and can keep up with demand, right? A lot of the space will benefit from many different profiles and skill sets of engineers, because like accessibility is key here. So there are a lot of really hard technical problems to solve, but not every engineer needs to work on those, because actually creating a great, delightful product experience where you've abstracted away all that complexity is equally as hard in my view, right? And whilst from a computer science perspective, it might not be a hard technical problem, from a product perspective, in like how you create that abstraction effectively, how you articulate to a user, make it intuitive, how you ensure that they can recover their funds at any point, right? And don't lose them because they forgot to back up their mnemonic phrase. Like all these problems actually require a lot more experience and skills and thinking than just kind of solving hard mathematical problems.